Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first of 4 micro webinars produced by NASF to help states better understand forest carbon and the potential roles states could play in the marketplace. My name is Reyna. I work with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania as Chief of Rural and Community Forestry. I'm also fortunate to be affiliated with the NASF Forest Resource Management Committee and a work group that has been convened to talk about how states can best participate in and navigate the oncoming tidal wave of forest carbon-related programs. We realize that every state and territory is likely to be at different points related to how well staff understand the forest carbon lingo and the ins and outs of forest carbon programs and markets. We also recognize that what is available or possible in each state is going to be highly variable. States also have differing levels of what you might call onboard expertise related to carbon. There are a few states that have hired forest carbon experts, but many states don't have the funding or positions available. These 10-minute presentations are meant to provide what you might call a Carbon 101 class to state employees. In this presentation, I'm going to go over a set of overall recommendations from the Forest Carbon Markets Work Group and endorsed by the state foresters, related to how states can better pursue and participate in forest carbon opportunities. Other presentations in this series will address basic forest carbon terminology, forest carbon marketing programs and project developers, and pursuing carbon market opportunities on state-owned land. So keep an eye out for those as well. My job today is to walk you through the recommendations that the Forest Carbon Markets Work Group came up with. If your state forester does not already have a copy of the document to share with you, they can request it through the NASF Forest Resource Management Committee. I want to start with just a little background. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably noticed a lot of talk about forest carbon sequestration, especially in relation to what we can be doing proactively to mitigate climate change. There are scientific studies, news stories, policies, or potential policies at various levels, legislation and rumors of legislation, and there are a variety of new programs being piloted that intend to help expand access to carbon markets to more non-industrial private forest landowners. As policymakers, scientists, and managers continue to wrestle with the climate change crisis, forest carbon is emerging as a high priority solution at the national level and also within some state governments. The state foresters recognize that this is an opportune moment that shines a light on forests and forest management, and we all need to be poised to move as best we can in this brave new world of forest carbon. The recommendations of the work group, which was made up of a variety of state folks and state forester policy and communication experts, were also vetted through partner organizations that have forest carbon backgrounds or work with forest carbon programs. Some of the recommendations will sound like common sense, but all are presented here for your thoughtful consideration of what might work best in your state or territory. The first set of recommendations is related to building on doing what we currently do best, educate landowners and provide them with information and technical assistance, and work to train our staff. This is something we can all do and is an area of low-hanging fruit in the forest carbon scene. We can fairly easily add forest carbon information into trainings we are already undertaking, or create new trainings and/or publications for landowners that are forest carbon focused. We can work with partners to provide the necessary information related to local or regional demand and help landowners understand what fair pricing looks like, as well as what to look for in credentials of businesses they may encounter in the carbon market arena. In order to do this well, we will need to make sure that our staff have a basic foundational knowledge of forest carbon terminology and an understanding of how programs available in the applicable state or territory work. This set of micro webinars is a good first step in the learning process. The next set of recommendations surround the acknowledgement that private sector partners have already been working in this space, developing and marketing programs, as well as conducting necessary verification and monitoring. This is essentially part of a free marketplace, and as such, we feel the overall efforts of state forestry agencies should be in support of partners becoming self-sustaining and not necessarily dependent on state governments for their ultimate existence. We realize that states may need to fill some gaps while the industry matures, Some potential activities states may undertake are aggregating land ownerships, which helps create the scale necessary for some of the opportunities available. Preparing or reviewing carbon project management plans where applicable. Implementing existing protocols for verification of carbon additionality, which will depend on the program or programs available in the state. Monitoring projects. Assisting with innovative forest carbon pilot programs. An example of this would be the Family Forest Carbon Program of the American Forest Foundation in partnership with the Nature Conservancy. While we hope for self-sustaining programs overall, we want to acknowledge that depending on the situation, some states may have to play a more permanent role in order to have the most access for landowners in their area. Any significant expansion of the role of states and territories in forest carbon market programs is likely to require additional funding. States could pursue fee-for-service models in areas where private industry is not able to meet landowner needs. The final area of guidance is surrounding communication, especially with landowners and entities running forest carbon programs in your area. We recommend that you intentionally reinforce the following key concepts. Forests have many social, environmental, and economic benefits beyond the carbon that they store. Urban and community trees are also carbon sequestration workhorses. The benefits of long-term carbon sequestration extend to durable goods made from wood. Working to reduce the risk of catastrophic fires, insects, and diseases helps keep carbon sequestered longer in the environment. Active forest management can keep carbon sequestration rates higher on the landscape, and it helps increase the many other benefits forests provide to society. Overall, we need greater standardization and simplification of project development requirements, which will facilitate landowner understanding and enrollment, and also help improve practitioner participation. In addition to guidance for the states and territories, the work group also made some requests of NASF. We recommend that NASF advocate for the bundling of environmental services beyond carbon to include things like water. This will expand opportunities for landowners and keep more forests as forests. NASF should advocate for the revision and/or expansion of cost share programs to emphasize and communicate carbon benefits. And NASF should also advocate for the development of carbon inventory technology that's more affordable and user-friendly. An inventory like this could have applications beyond carbon and could help us to better communicate the overall value of our programs and services. I've gone over the main guidance portion of the recommendation document, but there are a few appendices that you should think about reviewing on your own. Appendix 1 provides an overview of what is happening across the US related to forest carbon markets and some speculation on what might happen in the future. It also goes into succinct discussions of issues that need further consideration, such as additionality, standardization, aggregation, bundling, effects on the traditional forest products markets, pricing, and the role of fire. This is a quick read that will give you a feel for the overall forest carbon picture. Appendix 2 covers what is afoot related to legislative and policy proposals at the federal level. There are many proposals that you should be aware of. This is an excellent distillation of the key points. Appendix 3 contains a scope of work of the NASF Forest Carbon Markets Work Group. It also lists the members of the team. Feel free to reach out to folks on that list if you have specific questions or you'd like to know more. This has been a very quick overview of the recommendation document. I encourage you to get your hands on a copy of it. Hopefully, it will spark conversation in your state or territory on how to interact with forest carbon programs available in or coming soon to your area. Be sure to keep an eye out for the other 3 micro webinars in this series: Essential Carbon Terms and Concepts, Carbon Marketing Programs, Projects and Project Developers, and Exploring Carbon Markets for State-Owned Lands. From NASF and from all of us on the Forest Carbon Markets Work Group, thanks so much for tuning in. We look forward to seeing how the forest carbon scene develops in your neck of the woods.